Ah, vitamin C, right? It's the first thing we all reach for when we feel that little tickle in our throat. It's in our juice, it's everywhere. We think of it as this, health superstar. But what if a lot of what we believe about it is just plain wrong? Today, we're going to peel back the rind on one of the world's most popular and maybe most misunderstood vitamins.
So let's just get right into it, the big one. Can you really just blast a cold into oblivion by chugging a ton of vitamin C? I mean, we've all done it. It's a belief so common it pretty much feels like a scientific fact. But the real story, it's so much more complicated. And honestly, way more fascinating.
This whole idea, it didn't just come out of nowhere. It was massively popularized back in the 70s by a guy named Linus Pauling. And this wasn't just some random influencer. We're talking about a man with 2 Nobel Prizes. So when he said taking 1,000 milligrams a day could cut your risk of getting a cold by almost half, people listened. And boy, did they rush out to buy supplements. But the question is, was this genius actually right?
Okay, to figure that out, we have to take a step back and start with the basics. Let's forget about megadoses for a second. What does science say our bodies actually need on a daily basis, just to, function properly?
Well, the official recommended daily allowance, the RDA, is just 90 milligrams for men and 75 for women. Wait a minute, that's like a tenth of what Pauling was recommending, and you'll notice smokers need a little extra. Why? Well, simply put, smoking puts your body under a ton of stress at a cellular level, and vitamin C is one of the key antioxidants that helps clean up that damage.
And here's the kicker. Getting that daily amount is incredibly easy. You don't need some giant pill. Just look at this. Half a cup of raw red pepper, boom, you're done for the day. A small glass of orange juice gets you there too. A single orange is almost all you need. So for just your basic health, food has totally got you covered.
All right, so let's circle back to the main event. What about preventing colds? We know what we need, but what about what we want? This is where the whole story gets really, really nuanced, because it turns out whether it works or not depends completely on who you are. Okay, so let me just rip the Band-Aid off here. For most of us, for the average person, taking vitamin C every day does not prevent you from getting a cold. Period. The absolute best it might do is maybe shorten your cold by about a day. But, and this is a huge but, for a very specific group of people, like marathon runners or soldiers training in the Arctic, for them, it's a total game changer. 50%. I mean, think about that. For those people under extreme physical stress, taking vitamin C supplements can literally cut their risk of catching a cold in half. That's a massive deal. So you see, the myth isn't totally wrong. It's just that a very specific truth got stretched to apply to everybody when it really doesn't.
So if these megadoses aren't really helping most of us, you're probably thinking, well, what's the harm, right? Can't hurt to take it anyway? Let's talk about that, because there's absolutely a point where more is not better.
And to really get why, we have to understand this one key word, bioavailability. It sounds all sciencey, but it's a simple idea. It's just the amount of a nutrient your body can actually absorb and use. Your body isn't a dumb garbage can. It's a super smart filter, and it decides what gets in.
And this chart shows the whole problem perfectly. The second you start taking those huge doses, like over 1,000 milligrams, your body just throws up its hands. It can't process it all. It absorbs less than half of it. And the other half? Yep, you are literally just flushing it down the toilet.
In fact, health authorities have set an official ceiling, a kind of red line. It's called the tolerable upper intake level, and for adults, it's 2,000 milligrams a day. This is basically the maximum amount you can take where it's unlikely to cause you any problems.
So what happens if you keep going past that limit? Well, all that vitamin C your body couldn't absorb, it just sits in your gut. And that can lead to some, let's just say, unpleasant side effects. We're talking diarrhea, nausea, cramps, and for some people, if you do it long-term, you could actually be increasing your risk for really painful kidney stones.
But just when you think the case is closed, don't make a dose. It's a waste. The story takes this incredible scientific plot twist. See, all the limitations we've talked about, the absorption, the side effects, they all have one thing in common. They happen when you take a pill. So, what happens if you just bypass your gut entirely? And this is the new frontier. Scientists are now looking at giving vitamin C intravenously, through an IV. By putting it directly into the bloodstream, you completely get around the body's natural limits. You can achieve concentrations that are just physically impossible to get from a pill. And just look at this difference. It is staggering. A huge oral dose might get your blood concentration to about 220. With an IV, you can hit 26,000. That's not just a little more, that is over 100 times higher. At these kinds of levels, vitamin C stops being a vitamin. It starts behaving like a powerful drug.
And this is where things get really exciting for modern medicine. At these ultra-high levels, vitamin C does a complete 180. Instead of an antioxidant, it becomes a pro-oxidant. And get this, in lab studies, it seems to create a substance that can selectively kill certain cancer cells while leaving healthy cells alone. It's also being studied in ICUs to fight the massive life-threatening inflammation you see in conditions like sepsis. This is serious, cutting-edge stuff.
So, let's bring it all home. That old story of popping vitamin C to bust a cold? Yeah, for most of us, that's more myth than reality. But a new, way more powerful story is just emerging. The true potential of high-dose vitamin C might not have ever been about preventing a sniffle, but about fighting some of our most critical illnesses. Which leaves us with one final, fascinating thought. Is the real future of this famous vitamin not in the supplement aisle at all, but in a hospital IV bag?